Again, I think Houston has been different in reference to educating our kids. When we started this administration 5 years ago, one of the very first things, I think it was the second month after I was appointed interim superintendent, we started this walk for dropouts that has gotten a lot of publicity. Matter of fact, this last year, not only did it occur here in Houston, it occurred, I believe, in 6 different cities in the state of Texas. With the support of Mayor White and others, we've been able to take that dropout walk statewide, and maybe someday they'll go nationwide, but it's picked up a lot of publicity. We've had a lot of success with that in getting young people, hundreds of young people that have dropped out of school, back into school. Many of these young people now, years later, have not only graduated from high school, but they actually have ventured into the community college or some other institution of higher learning. And you got to think, if it wasn't for that Saturday walk, spending that half a day on Saturday knocking on doors, would that young person have returned? So that was one of the first things that we started with as far as reform. But it didn't take long for me to start to realize as an educator that that's not enough. And I can tell you that for my 2 daughters, only graduating from high school is not enough. That's not my goal as a parent for my 2 daughters. And it shouldn't be our goal for any child to just graduate from high school, you know? So that's when we started talking about the idea that we would start in Houston, in this inner city urban school district, we would start what we call a college-bound culture. That every child would be expected to not only graduate from high school, but would be expected to move on to higher education. And that we would start at all levels. I see one of our elementary principals here, that even at the elementary level, that we start talking about college. And the reason that's so important is that for many children of poverty, the family itself does not have the college-bound culture that many middle-class families have. And, my 2 daughters grew up middle class because of their parents. And I can tell you from the day they were walking, we were talking about going to college. That doesn't occur in families of poverty very, very often. So we, the school district, need to take that responsibility. And I'm proud to tell you that today we're graduating more kids than we ever before. As a matter of fact, 3 weeks ago when we had commencement, we graduated 776 more students, more seniors crossing the stage receiving a diploma than we did just a year ago. So as we started to look at this, I started to wonder, well, is it because the senior class is bigger? And then I thought, well, maybe not, because to tell you the truth, in the last 5 or 6 years, we've lost enrollment in the school district. We actually have lost about 6 or 7,000 students. We're down to 200,000. We had been at one time years ago at 211, and more recently, like I said, 5 or 6 years back, we were at about 207, 206. Well, if we're losing enrollment, we couldn't have a bigger class. But we looked at it, and sure enough, we have, matter of fact, this last year's senior class was the largest senior class that we've had in 5 years. And we only went back to look 5 years. You know, now I'm tempted to go even further back to see that. So what that also tells me that in a school system that's losing enrollment over a period of time, if this one class is bigger than ever before, means that more kids or young people in high school are staying in school, going to becoming seniors, and eventually graduating and moving on to college. And the reason that young people drop out of school ordinarily is because they don't have success in school. So that also tells me that they're seeing some level of success as they move through our high school. So anyway, that's the college-bound culture that I think has really infiltrated the school system in our community. And in spite of me leaving or retaring, I would think that our board and our community would insist that continues, because that is what we need to do for all our young people. We have more schools today that have received the highest ratings. Matter of fact, a year ago, last summer, when we received accountability ratings, over half of our schools, 57% to be exact, were schools that were either rated exemplary or recognized by the state of Texas. Again, for an urban system with 80% poverty, that's extraordinary. As a matter of fact, the state of Texas as a whole, if you take all the schools in Texas, only 47% of those schools receive exemplary recognized status, a year ago. Well, we don't have the official rankings yet, but we have the test scores and we can do our own calculations, and we already know that when the rankings come out July 31st or August the 1st, that we're going to have close to 200 schools out of about there's about 280 that get rated out of the 300. So about 200 schools will be either exemplary or recognized in HISD, which is better than 70% of all our schools. So we go from 57% to 70, a little over 70% in 1 year. So there's no doubt in my mind that there is momentum in the school system in moving forward. But let me talk a little bit now about some of the things that occur in our school system that serves the multicultural and very diverse population that we have. Houston as a whole, the city of Houston as a whole, is a very international city. And as you would imagine, the school system serves all these children, and there are over 100 languages, different languages that children, that our students speak when they come to school, and it's very, very diverse. We actually have two international schools, two international high schools. One is Sharpstown Middle School. Both of these schools were started within the last 3 years, I think, about the last 3 years. The first one is the International High School at Sharpstown High School, that is serving close to 300 students now, I believe, or will serve 300 students as we move forward. And the intent of the school really is not only to serve a very diverse population, but the intent really is to teach children that have a particular interest in the various cultures in this world, and to learn about the various cultures that exist in the world, and put the focus and the emphasis of that school in that. The second international school has been housed at the HCC, Houston Community College main campus, in portable buildings, and it's been in place also 3 or 4 years. And this next August, when it opens up in a couple of months, we're going to actually open up a new campus, a renovated campus, a few blocks down the street where J. Will Jones Elementary has been situated. And that school is also an international school, but it also is an early college school. We now have 4 early colleges, and we're getting ready to open up the 5th one this coming August. And an early college is an opportunity for young people, while still in high school, to earn college credit. And if they stay with the program, which is ordinarily a 5-year program, instead of a 4-year program for high school, this is a 5-year program. If they stay with the program, not only do they graduate with a diploma, they graduate many times with an associate's degree, or maybe 60 hours of college credit. Matter of fact, last year, a young lady graduated with 72